time to talk rugby. It's the Champagne Rugby Podcast coming to you from the Export Beer Garden studio. My name is Tony, and joined with Sam Smith and James McOnie, who I won't let introduce themselves. How you going, guys?
I'm good, thank you. My name's Sam Smith.
I'm James McOnie, coming at you from the end of the bench. Great to be here. Hey, I know we're talking about rugby, but
We are.
But Sam was getting pumped about a TV show that's starting soon, and
Oh my
called
gosh.
The Trader, and I saw that they dusted him off, and they said, come back to TV.
They washed him off his super yacht. They hosed him down. They put him in a bright, beautiful suit.
Now, I've got a question about
And then they
Paul
made
Henry on the Traders. Is it his fedora? He's wearing a fedora and all the promotional activity. Was it his choice to wear the fedora?
I'll tell you what, he has 1 million fedoras because he's a millionaire. He spent $1 on every fedora that he has. And he has such an absolute plethora of fedoras throughout the show. So if you are keen to watch a fedora-based murder mystery featuring myself and also television's Matt Heath, also radio, Matt Heath does everything, do watch The Traders. The fedoras are great, but I'll tell you what, the gameplay is even better.
A plethora of fedoras sounds like a song by Fall Out Boy.
It's also the name of my ska band from when I was in high school.
And is it his dildo as well, Paul Henry's?
It's his dildo.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. What dildo?
On the Traders. I understand there's a bit of dildo action on the Traders. Is that right?
Okay.
Is there dildo action
If that
on the
will
Traders?
get you to watch the show, then yes, please.
Okay, well, it's all right. Yeah, no, I'm
Where did
looking.
that come from? I don't
No, I'm just wondering, like, he's got the collection of fedoras, obviously, and then the dildo collection as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, you've got, the top of your cupboard is filled with hats, fedoras, and the bottom is filled with dillies.
Yeah, that's right.
It goes without saying.
So, what happens in the Traders? It's a Dutch. It's a Dutch format. Of course, there's dildos.
That's right, yes, of course. So I didn't see the dildo part during my time on the show, but it is a murder mystery, so a bunch of us, we went out to this mountain lodge. Paul picks a couple of people to be the traitors secretly, so the other people don't know about it. Those people every night have to kill off one of the people on the show.
You kill a guy.
They actually kill a guy.
You could kill
Or
someone
a girl.
with a dildo, though. You could.
Yeah.
You definitely could.
Stephen Joyce gave it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the recipient end, obviously.
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
right. Yeah.
And
And then he was also hit with one on the face on the TV.
He's done so much in our dildo culture. Thank you, Stephen Joyce. For services to dildos, you will get can you get a knighthood?
Yeah, they knight you with a dildo.
But the thud from the Queen, or who it'll have to be Prince. It'll have to be King
she's
Charles
dead.
now.
She's dead.
She's gone. Is she?
Yeah.
She died, buddy. Yeah.
Oh,
Sad
sorry.
news. Sad news.
R.I.P.
But anyway, on the Traders,
Not related to-
everyone gathers together and they banish someone from the show each episode as well. So you lose 2 people in an episode. It's a great game, and I can't wait for
When's
everyone
it
to
on?
watch it. It starts on August the 7th, 7:30 on 3, and is also available on 3 now.
Okay, seamless.
Oh, plug.
Yeah, that was a hell of a plug. Hey, and speaking
Plug,
of
plug, plug,
plugging, I was going to plug myself up
Yeah,
on
please.
Saturday night with a bit of the dog roll. What a game, the All Blacks. They played the Wallabies in Melbourne, massive crowd, 82,000 people or something. I saw a stat that said it's the biggest Australian home crowd in more than 20 years on Australian soil. And to that I thought, half of them there are supporting the All Blacks, nonetheless.
If not more.
Yeah.
Have you got some dog roll in the chamber?
I am basically full dilly right now.
Okay, let's play some dog roll.
Aaron Smith with the foresight, a quick line out from Australia. They went, oh, buried! Oh, what a hit! Woo-hoo! Dog roll! Dog roll! The line out was a schmozzle. Came through dog roll. He flattened McDermott like a pancake. And the All Blacks stormed through and score.
Oh, they managed. Adam decided to cut out my commentary, which is somewhere after that. Jesus, but anyway, yeah, dog roll, unbelievable. hit.
Unbelievable.
It was a sitting duck hit, though.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I remember in Crowd Goes Wild, we would actually ban any hits where the person was pretty much stationary because it's really just a crash test dummy.
Yeah.
And like from a bomb, for example, the hits from the bomb. Like anyone catching the ball and just getting a tackler at the same time, we went, it's not really a smash them, bro. It's just really a sitting duck.
It's
And that
sitting
was a
duck.
hospital pass,
Well, especially OT ball when you're 5 metres
Yeah.
out, so he's already closed the gap. He's so close to him, and his eyes must have lit up when he saw the ball go up, and he's like, I'm going to smash the crap out of this bloke here.
I'm going to kill this small man.
Yeah, Dick Frizzell, his eyes lit up also with the ball. He
rolled
picked
next
it
to
up, and then he was like, I've actually already scored just by virtue of picking the ball up. It was super bizarre as a spectator, not on the call, just watching it at home, and you're like, oh, there's a try. It was the most build-up try you'll ever see, just dog roll smashing the shit out of Guy. And it was a sign of things to come because he just decided to rack up in that game and played.
Oh, my gosh. He destroyed Nick White.
Yeah.
He pinned him on the ground, smushed him. I was going to say mushed. What's the word for kiss? Smooched him. He smooched him on the lips.
Yeah.
And then shushed said lips.
Yeah, he really did. He just decided to come out and be a real mongrel about it and held his fingers to Nick White's lips, made himself a nuisance for all the halfbacks that came on, which, as anyone, any player who's played rugby probably has a little bit of dislike of halfbacks. Like, they're just niggly.
He was almost like a dominant sort of like one of those cool detective characters, like a John Wick, like shh.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough from you sort of thing. And rocking him almost to sleep, like he was like, I'm pinning you down. Yeah. He was pinning a lot of people down actually. And when you got a big dog roller on top of you, there's not much you can do. One thing I would say is that he was pretty much, that feels like his best ever test performance. And if you remember a few years ago, he got sent off quite early in the Bledisloe test over in Perth. It was from a high tackle. He kind of got his timing wrong. I think it was on Michael Hooper. And we lost that test by the biggest margin. So that's the dog roll swing right there.
The dog roll swing.
You get full dog roll, and you win a test by 30, and you lose them. You lose a test by 30. That's how important the dog roll is.
Yeah, and it's always controversial, Sam, as you mentioned, holding a guy down with your full body weight and then bringing your finger to his lips and going, shh, shh. It can sort of be taken of two ways. Luckily, this was the way you want it, which is just a sheer dominant display overall.
It's a very Pulp Fiction, like when they bring out the gimp and then is it Marcellus with the pool ball in his mouth, and it does feel like a dominant sort of thing.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see someone play a game for the All Blacks in a full gimp suit. I've never seen it. I'd be here to see it if someone did want to play.
I'm watching it in my brain right now, and it's really good.
Yeah, if Ardie Savia sort of came off the back of the scrum in a full leather gimp suit, obviously all branded All Blacks, still had
obviously
all the looked like an All Blacks outfit, still had socks.
But you can't grab onto that jersey. That's skin tight. That's a fantastic idea.
We should have gone gimp. We should have gone gimp. Because it's simple. We went French, and it's like they put a twirly fern on it, and it's like all along staring you in the face. Go gimp, go tight. And if you had anyone who wanted to wear a mask, optional, but probably quite sensible, because if you pad the top, you've got yourself old headgear scrum cap thing.
Well, we've been looking at ways to get CTE out of the game, and I think that a padded gimp mask is certainly a way to go about it. You can also have a zip for the mouth, so during the haka you unzip that so the pukana is still available.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I think we're kind of used to wearing masks now as well, thanks to COVID. So it's also quite COVID safe that we get to wear a mask on the field.
And COVID's still around. If you go to the World Cup, imagine if you got half the team down with COVID. And remember, like the South Africa, we had the food poisoning drama. Well, if you got 10 players out with COVID, I mean, you got the gimp mask, it's less likely to happen, and probably just quite a sensible thing for Fozzie to investigate.
And also afterwards, you can keep them on for the route. Huge team route.
Of course. Yeah, that's right. The once you've played a full 80 minutes in a gimp suit, though, it'd be quite swampy inside.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. Yeah. Has anyone ever played in and this is slightly changing tact, has anyone ever played in a onesie, like a legitimate, instead of having a jersey and shorts, just having it as a one piece? Has that ever been done from a men's rugby team?
I don't know why you would.
I don't think so, but I've seen a lot of players when they play on the AstroTurf, they'll go full tights and full sleeves. So it looks arms, looks
more
onesie-ish.
suit-ish. It's a good way to be. And speaking of a good way to be, beating the pants off the Wallabies. For me, I know that a lot of people say the Wallabies aren't where they used to be, and that's obviously true, but there's still a special place in my heart for seeing the Wallabies get ruthlessly smashed, especially at home. Like this is the old foe, even though, as I mentioned, they've dropped off a bit, but I love the ruthless nature of it, that we didn't sort of just start coasting after that second half, because there were two periods of the game where the Wallabies played really well. So the first sort of 20,
they were great,
and then the first 20 of the second half, they were pretty bloody good. And after those times stopped, we just really got it out and whizzed all over them.
Why did Tupou keep playing? Like, he was fully injured. Like, He was wincing. He felt bad. He's a prop. He's got to hold up a bloody scrum, and is like, I don't know, his ribs are all cracked or whatever happened to him.
Yeah,
why did he do that?
Well, it's a tough one. He obviously was injured and went back for a scrum and was immediately conceded a scrum penalty, which relieved the pressure. We kicked and ended up scoring a try off that. And then because he was injured, he then put on a bad hit, was yellow carded, and then we scored 2 more tries in the period that he was off. So that injury and the reluctance to sub him off cost them an incredible 21 points. It seems like a bad move from Eddie Jones, who's supposed to be a savant, remember?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Tongan Thor here, Taniela Tupou,
Yeah.
and he was, you could see at one point when you say he was wincing, he couldn't pass the ball.
No.
So he actually looked like he was pretty much immobile out there. Then he kind of like came back to life a little bit and was just probably being a little bit stoic. You know how people, you know, who are a little bit injured and don't want help up the stairs or something. And so I'm okay. And so he goes, I'm all right to face this massive frickin' scrum from the All Blacks. And that was mismanagement from Eddie Jones. I don't know what the hell he's doing up there.
Yeah.
He's got a box of Eddie's favourites behind him.
I know.
Like the Cadbury thing is ridiculous, the sponsorship. He's got probably one of the most important players in his entire squad because Tongan Thor is a game changer. And they just lost Alan Alatoa completely. He's gone.
It's
Ruptured
sad to
Achilles.
lose him. He's
Very sad.
He's a great player.
So why did Eddie... I think it's just... And you're right, Tony. All those tries happened around then. Actually, up until that point, the Wallabies were reasonably competitive, even with Carter Gordon, their first 5, having a bit of a shitter.
Yeah, he had a real shitter. It was his first start at home as well, and kicked one short, and his kicking game was all over the show. I mean, young guy, he's only, 21 or so. I mean, when I was 21, 22, I was sort of just into Dunedin drinking bongs of Spates, and that's about it. So I can't say too much for the guy. He's doing better than what I was then. But nonetheless, it seemed like it almost got to him at the G. And how good to see the game at the G as well. What a stadium. I was just looking at it the whole time being like, why are they ever playing at Melbourne Rectagonal Stadium, as they're calling it during the FIFA Women's World Cup? Also, what a name for a stadium. It's rectagonal. Rectangular. Forgiveness, please.
The rectagonal.
The rectangular, I always think that there's got to be a better name. Like, why? Because, I mean, obviously, Eden Park's lucky it doesn't have the sponsor thing, so they can call it Eden Park. But some of the other, like Sydney Football Stadium has reverted to that because that was the name before whoever came along, the sponsors, right? So surely there must be some area that you'd actually just say, look, it's actually in the, whatever, Warringah's suburb, we'll call it Warringah Park.
Surely.
Whatever, just give it a bloody local name. But Melbourne Rectangular, I mean, it's right by the Yarra River.
Yeah.
What about, the Yarra Ground? It's fine.
And we can see it's rectangular. No one's going, luckily they put that information on the name of the stadium. I was thinking it was round over here. I thought of humiliated myself when I was like, "How do you see the game at the round stadium?" I think you find that's rectangular.
It's not a rhombus, is it? It's not a rhombus. You can't do a rugby in a rhombus.
Can't do a rhombus.
Trapezoid?
Oh, it'll be interesting. Imagine that. They just start doing...
Rhombus rugby. Have we just invented a game?
And we get
we trademark that.
We get rhombus, Kiwi band rhombus to play the halftime entertainment.
The rhombus.
It's called Clav Dub if you want to Google that one at home.
Can we play Clav Dub, please?
Oh, I thought I'd already played it.
Animal bit. Oh, here we go. Rhombus were bloody going off. Was it the early 2000s?
Yeah, it was a big band. They were, when I was 22 again, down Dunedin, they were
This
doing
is
the
a big time
tour.
for you when you were 22.
They were doing the O-Week tours, playing down there, headlining concerts, old Rhombus.
I was there. It was good.
Can I nominate? Should we all nominate our top 3 from the game?
Yeah,
So Dog Roll's our number 1.
Dog Roll's, of course,
he won
number 1.
ACC Player of the Day. I went Richie Mounga up in that top 3. I thought he just looked in control. He's proving himself. He's happy. I think Joe Schmidt is just there perfectly as a sort of like, he's a first 5 whisperer, Joe Schmidt. He just gets in the area and goes, it's going to be okay. And they just feel happy. And so I'm up there with Richie anyway.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to the slipperiest man in rugby union, Mark Talia. There was obviously a sort of game plan to play down that short side, and they really just hacked the shit out of it, especially in the opening stages of the game. Keep going short, keep going blind.
I reckon he was unlucky to not get that try. He did everything he had to do.
Definitely not a try, unfortunately, but you're right. He did everything right apart from the only thing he had to do, which is tap the ball correctly. He forgot to tap that with his foot, and we've all been there. It's a classic schoolboy era, but he's just so good.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but G-Lane was watching that and insisting that he saw a tap. You know how he just goes, it's there, I can see it. And it's like, I can't actually.
Yeah.
I think Wayne and his mate, or Barnesy as the TMO called him, they're very familiar.
Very
it was
familiar.
all English touch judges, TMO and Barnesy. Wayne Barnes, he's back. Quite triggering seeing him still.
It really is, eh? Like every time I'm like, eee!
I found it very triggering. I also found it takes a while to get used to different referees. He really likes to have a say on the game, and you can hear him where he's preempting penalties with the players. He'll give them these big warnings, which almost means I'm definitely going to call a penalty here, just so that you guys know. He's coaching them through the scrums, yelling at them to stay up, yelling them to stay high. Yeah. He's very involved in the play, which is unusual to what we've been seeing from Southern Hemisphere refs, where they're trying to remain more invisible.
Was the 2007 World Cup 14 years ago?
Yes.
Holy crap!
And
that's how long that guy's been living.
Well,
rent-free in our ranks.
The weird thing is that with Wayne Barnes is he's kind of become, I guess, maybe the top ref in the world. Like he's so highly rated.
Yeah.
So it's just this entire nation of bitter Kiwis just go, nah, fuck that guy. Whereas everybody else says, nah, Wayne Barnes, breath of fresh air.
And I think by the second half I was back on board, but the first half there was a lot of swearing going on in my household where I was like, oh, just let the fucking game play. Where at the end I was like, oh, you know what, he's actually got this in control. And it actually is good refereeing, but it's such a different style, and it's unusual to see that two referees can make a game feel so different.
It's 16 years as well, which is even more incredible, that bloody World Cup. And so I think it's 16, isn't it?
Yes, you're absolutely right, yeah.
And so the other thing with Barnesy is he seems to be making up different rules at different times. Like he really cares about certain laws that other refs just turn a blind eye to. Whereas the other one, like for example, he didn't mind people coming through the ruck. So for example, Sam Cane in that Super Rugby final wouldn't have got a yellow card under Barnesy. No. He might have got it's there, I can see it. Yep. Like he's not really keen on the last foot being behind the ball shit. He's like, nah, it's there, I can see the ball clear. He says clear daylight or something like that. It's like, okay.
Speaking of that Super Rugby final, that move where Damien McKenzie was offside and that try got ruled out, the All Blacks did a very similar move to that. A throw over the line out with the with Richie Mounga, or maybe it was Bodie coming through, grabbing it off and running it through on that cut through angle.
Geordie Barrett, but that is a legitimate.
It was Geordie Barrett.
It's a legitimate move, and it
was great.
And I think it's a great attacking threat. But D-Mac just misjudged it in that final and left too early. But it's totally doable and an old classic.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly, and that they need more moves. I think Super Rugby. with the World Cup coming up, you know that it's going to come down to one play. You'll probably get an attacking option or a set player opportunity. That's why I still want to see Lester Whanganuku in there at some point. He needs to have a run because he was kind of the best attacking player, or him and Sean Stevenson in Super Rugby, and I just want to see will our moves we overran Australia because they messed up with Tongan Thor. We had that yellow card where they're down to 14. But can we put teams away without that good fortune, just by being clinical? That's why I'm all about Leicester.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. It was the most stretched I thought we've looked in a while in some of those plays where we were a bit scrappy as well, scrappier than we have been in the other couple of games in this rugby championship, and you were like, oh, it's not quite gelling in the way that it has in those last two games, obviously blowing South Africa off the park so early, freed up a bit of space. But we managed to hold in there and in the struggle, which I guess they'll be pretty pumped up with.
I reckon Australia are doing the thing, because you pointed out that they were real good at the start of the first half, the start of the second half. I reckon they're having a few chockies. They're having some of those Cadbury chocolates.
They're blood doping.
Before that. They're blood doping.
Oh, yeah.
With Cadbury chocolate. Which means they've got heaps of energy at the beginning, but it just doesn't sustain, does it? They need more nuts. They need more like fats in their salads.
Avocado.
They need some avocado. That's exactly what they need.
Good fats.
Australia needs to be sponsored by a good fat company.
Pine nuts.
Pine nuts.
Shit, they're expensive. If you get a pine nut sponsor, we'd be on board here at Champagne Rugby as well.
I would love to get a pine nut sponsor on board. If anyone out there is big pine nut is listening to this.
Is it Tasty with an I? Do they do pine nuts?
It certainly sounds like this sort of
thing.
thing.
They're in our neighbourhood, I think, Tony Lyall.
They could be.
At the end of Te Aratū Peninsula. So if anyone from Tasty with an I is listening,
please,
I'll let your boys give us your nuts.
I'd love to be snacking on a little tray of nuts up here while we shoot the shit about about the rugby. Sam, anyone that you would like to shout out? There you go.
I would like to shout out Will Jordan. Had a great game. I know, but I think also one of the things I've done throughout all of rugby is kind of being like, yeah, Will Jordan's amazing. He's the guy. He's even better than Bodie, but I think Bodie's playing fantastic, and I just want to give a nod of the hat to Beauden Barrett, who is brilliant.
He's a bit of a facilitator, isn't he?
Exactly
Bodie?
right. He's stopped being he's sort of letting the other people do the flashy stuff that he would often do. He's just letting these younger guys run around do the things while he controls the ship.
Long hair Bodie would have been taking all those gaps, but now he's short hair Bodie. He's like, I'm the man in the middle now.
He's doing what he needs to do.
Also, big shout out, I know Sam will approve of this, to Cody Taylor, who has pretty much taken the number 2 jersey back. I thought Artie was impressive, as always. He's kind of like the world's best rugby player, and when he decides to do that thing, you go, oh, yeah, it's him. Yeah. But, he's got the yellow jersey in Tour de France parlance. But anyway, Cody Taylor's got their number 2 jersey back, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
We've got you got a bit of a bigger unit. He's a bit of a more sort of wide-ranging hooker, but he loves a human centipede. Yeah. He does it better than anyone. I think we've locked in almost a 15, haven't we, for the World Cup?
I think so. And to your point, Sam, of getting Will Jordan out there, it was also the one where it's not like he was the star of the show. He kind of was almost second fiddle to Mark Talia in terms of just the amount of times his name was said. But when he'd pop up, he'd just do something magic.
Just something phenomenally great.
And set up a try or score a try. And then it's hard to think of this time last year, Samisoni Takiaho was like, we were like, wow. Yeah. He is our new number 2. Forget about it. And then Cody's like, hey, yeah.
Hey, don't you forget about me.
And what about if I just do this?
Don't you
forget about me. Don't.
Also, I have to say, I love to see Caleb Clark back out there looking hungry.
He was great.
When you walk on by. Oh, sorry. He was great.
He was great. No, I kind of like it punctuated.
When you call my name.
And they were calling Caleb Clark's name as well. Getting in there with his socks down, but his skin's up, which I think is a strong look.
He's looking trim. I mean, I always go for a black shirt if, it's very slimming. But he is looking like a bit of a weapon because I always judge it by the arse. He's got the best arse in rugby. He's got a badonkadonk.
Yeah.
But right now it's just looking like a tight buns, like powdered toast man from Ren and Stimpy. It's probably an obscure reference.
Great reference.
Cling tenaciously to my buttocks. It's like, yes, you could do that with Caleb Clark.
See, we've got so many people that are like full-blown. Caleb Clark could start any day. Takiaho could start any day, and they're our bench guys.
Yeah, which is unusual for us, I feel like, the last couple of years. We haven't had that 15, as you mentioned, McOnie set, and it's feeling like we might have that set, which gives us also the luxury of getting a substitute bench pretty set as well.
Dalton was great.
Yep.
He was certainly had a good moustache, which I love to see as a flanker.
He does look like a dashing pilot from World War II, doesn't he?
Yes,
we've got the time traveller who's definitely, the Nick White, but I know Dalton he's gone more 40s, I think, with that moment.
If Dalton Papali'i ran out, knocked on your door and said, get out of your house is on fire, you'd leave. You go, no, I believe you, 100%, I'm going. But, if let's say Ethan de Groot came up, you'd be like, hey, I got some follow-up questions here, Ethan, what's going on? Why are you at my door in the middle of the night? But that Dalton moustache, I'm leaving. I'm grabbing some supplies and I'm going to go head for the hills.
Okay, you children? You getting kids?
Yeah, they're the supplies. All right. Well, just as many as I can carry.
Yeah, cool.
Shout out as well, yes, exactly. I think Dalton is a fire chief. And de Groot, that's the big problem. With Ethan de Groot, you go, what are you doing here, you giant human? You take up the doorway. We can't get out of the house with you standing there, for starters, Doesn't look like you're going to move over in a hurry. I walked past him at Sky in the corridors. He's the only person where I went, oh, shit, we better do a bit of a...
He's a big rig.
Yeah, he's a big rig. It was like in a narrow supermarket aisle where you just go, okay, we've got to try and work this one out.
Question for you, when you did that, did you face each other or did you back to him?
I faced him.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him up close. It's like a big ship going past you, like the Queen Mary or something, and you just go, wow, look at that. That's amazing. Look at that.
He blocked out the sun.
Massive.
Also, very fresh-faced. If you just see his face, not his body, he's still so young. He's got so much to give. You
forget that these people are children. They are.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, I've interviewed Luke McAllister, who was at that game 16 years ago playing, and he still looks young now. Yeah. And it's like, oh, shit. Okay, he was so young. He was 2 years
above me at my school, Westlake Boys High School, and he once told me to pick up some rubbish, and I told him to fuck off. and I ran away because I was scared of him.
And I like that you ran away from him. He would have had no comeback for that. I bet he couldn't catch you.
He couldn't. I was very, very, I don't know, oily.
Yeah, Great Crusaders heartland, the North Shore of Auckland. There, people, once again, absolutely throwing yourself
I
under
know
the
where
bus.
I'm from.
Then,
You can't take that away
speaking of
from
Luke
me.
McAllister, obviously known for having absolute
Oh, the
tree
biggest
trunk
th-
thighs,
the
but I
biggest thighs in the
saw
world.
Richie Mounga lining up a kick in this game, and I was shook, as they say in common parlance these days. His legs are absolutely huge. He's shit.
It'll probably be from all the rugby and kicking, I reckon.
They're absolutely massive.
You think so?
I think so. I think that's what he's been working out.
Big theory.
Yeah,
But
it
people
makes
are
sense.
talking about his thighs, aren't they?
No, people talk about his sexy face, his cute little bum, his lovely little hands. No one's ever saying, look at the absolute quads on that man.
Also, people have been in the gym, have been working out. Pushing tin include Geordie Barrett now, who has, I think it's good for him because he was always the udon noodle,
Yep.
a very slim fullback, but he's been given the 12 jersey and he's used the past year to put on beef, and he's even said it himself, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I had to get my second 5 body on, and so now he's a scary prick, you know?
Yes.
He's 6'5", and he said, I'm putting on the muscle out here. And so you could see the Aussies go, I don't really fancy Before it was like, you're just a noodle, come at me.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, Geordie Barrett, massive
You're a Kit
behemoth.
Kat chunky running towards me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want that.
There was a lovely moment where he caught a ball deep and just turned to run. And often, in the past, he might have gone to kick or go to link up with someone else. But as he's running, you sort of saw him think, fuck it, I'm going to run straight at some guy. And some other guy was like, oh man, this is going to suck so bad. Why would you sprint right at me?
I think shout out to Rico as well. Like I think he's done the same thing. He's massive. He's a massive boy.
Well, I think we've individually shouted out the whole team, which is exciting.
Hey,
I'm
can we
Tyrell Lomax.
just an apology to anyone we didn't shout out to. Lurch, Brody Retallick.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
that's quality all.
Sammy
all
Whitelock
round.
chalks up another test
he
cap,
does.
going
He's
towards that
brilliant.
greatest of all time figure. He's going to overtake Richie, become the king.
Also,
What's he on now?
Cam Roygaard, great little sub
debut.
debut. Yeah, good on.
He's lovely.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
He fit in like a glove. Is that the saying? It's something
Yeah.
like
He
that.
fit in like a glove, like a glove in a glove box. He just tucked right in there. I love the ability when someone comes on, and I remember it specifically when Bodie had his first start off the bench back in however many decades ago.
I think it was 15 years ago.
But when
You could have
players
said
come
he
on,
fit in like a dildo. If
Oh yeah, nice.
No, but I'm just thinking of like the glove in the glove box. It does fit in, but I mean, you're talking about something
No.
that fits in, don't you?
like perfectly.
Yeah, but
It's a hand in a glove, really, which is what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, carry on. Sorry.
fits like a glove.
yeah.
Nice.
There you go,
On
yeah.
your All Black debut, Cam Roygaard, to be compared to a dildo on New Zealand's premier
a
rugby
very
podcast.
well-fitting dildo.
Yeah, perfectly fitting.
Fantastic. In fact, his dad owned the sports store in Cambridge. Shout out to Cambridge. I don't know why, but anyway, they used to sell really cool or Waikato beanies, red, yellow, and black, and they were quite cheap. It was like $10 beanies.
Good. When was this? Can we go back and
Were
get
they
one?
warm?
No, I don't know. It was like ages ago. I used to buy them as Christmas presents. Some people not so happy with a Waikato beanie. I remember my mum going, "Thank you, James."
Well, it's certainly better than the presents I used to get people, which was things that I had, let's say, received from the countdown that I worked at. So people would get like a box of crackers or, maybe a thing of favourites, which was sort of past their use by date. So I think that I'd rather have been in that.
He just said he stole things out of. Is it stealing things or past use by date? It's probably dumpster stuff, eh?
No, what's it? No, I mean, I like that little that's like a trolley that's just there, and it's like about a couple of bucks, right?
Oh, like the, yeah.
I think if you study the tape, I did not incriminate myself at all, and I was
No,
very,
it's fine. It's
very
just-
careful to do that.
I'm just doing some deciphering here.
He's
That's all I'm
just
doing.
he's just stingy like the rest of us. Like I love that trolley. I always have a look at that trolley.
Yeah.
It's like, what you got in there?
Always have a
That's
get.
what-
Oh, that meat does look quite old. It is quite drippy.
We've been told that use by dates are absolute bollocks anyway, haven't
That's
we?
right.
It's just big countdown trying to make more money of us. So eat that rancid meat.
They've got to make that money so that they can pay to rebrand to the thing that they were before anyway.
Oh yeah, Woolies are coming
Well, he's
back.
coming back, baby. We had when I lived in Wellington. We had a Woolworths and a Countdown, and the Woolworths became a Countdown. So there were two Countdowns right near each other, and now they're both changing back to be a Woolworths. So that was cool.
I remember when I was at university at Canterbury, the Bush Inn, they built a I think it was a Woolworths there, and it was the first big supermarket car park I'd ever seen with lights, like it was all lit up. So we decided to play late night cricket, but because the car park was so massive, we went, let's use a tennis racket instead. So you could absolutely smash it, like almost the length of the car park if you connected with it. Shit, it was a good game.
This is a good revolutionary game. It's like pickleball cricket.
Yeah. And then that means you could be like right in the far reaches of this bloody car park. And I think we had a rule that it had to go at least, some distance. So it had to be an aerial shot. You couldn't be playing cover drives. The whole point was it was a one hand, one bounce out in the big car park. Yeah. Fucking good game.
Amazing.
Well, I look forward to seeing Woolworths sponsor the latest edition of, we could invent that game.
Tennis racket, Astro Cricket, we called it.
Hey, speaking of games that have been recently invented, quick shout out here from the Kiwi Pong Pro-Am 2023. Are you taking part in this, McOnie? I feel like you've been roped into this.
No, what is it?
Well, ACC and Hodaki, they're hosting the annual Kiwi Pong Pro-Am this September.
That'd be amazing.
I know, fueled by those good folks at Leader NZ, the home of Lasagna Topper, and the pros, the amateurs, are competing alongside each other in the Pro-Am Championship. And yes, I am reading this off my phone. The ACC have 2 more team entries to give away, and this event is invite only, so get out of here if you think it's going to roll up. You got to text PONG to 3236 to complete the entry form. And 2 teams already have made it. The Short Kings and the Dodgers have won the first 2 ACC, so text PONG to 3236. And boom, there's some admin out of the way. And we'll take a little bit of a break and we'll come back and talk about this week's game. Yes, welcome back to the Champagne Rugby Podcast. Sam Smith, anything you'd like to say before we plug on?
Can I just say, I just really like hanging out with you guys. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us, and I think it's really nice that, that we just get to hang out and talk about rugby. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. It really helps me just, chill out for a bit. Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
Mate.
Oh,
Thanks.
mate, this feels very, very authentic, and I appreciate it. We can talk about the South Africa-Argentina game. It was the other game on the weekend that wasn't the All Blacks playing the Wallabies, and the Argentinians just scraping a loss. Is that how you say that? A 1-point loss.
Yeah, unlucky, Argies.
There was a weird thing that happened at the start of the game when very first, from the kickoff, Grant Williams, the little South African halfback, he got rid of the ball, and someone who was charging it down was the Pumas fullback, Juan Cruz Malia, and he just pretty much collected him, his hip bone into the face bone, and knocked out Grant. I think he had to get carted off with it was golf cart.
He's dead.
It was golf cart series. He's gone. R.I.P. And the referee goes, can't see anything wrong with it, and I'm like,
the man's dead.
What the fuck? What do you need? Like this,
I literally saw his ghost leave his body. The man is dead.
We've had way more accidental head clashes, like an Angus Tartaval sort of thing, where he's not even knowing. But I'm sorry, if you misjudge your charge down, you're mid-air, and you collect someone with your hip bone, that's your freaking problem, mate. Yeah. And even I know that rule. And Andrew Brace, the referee from Wales, I'm sorry, you needed a bit of Nigel Owens on your shoulder there to say, come on. Do I have to do a Welsh?
Yes, please do. Please do.
No. Come on now, you know that tackle is not legal.
That's pretty great.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty great. And especially with the ass, right? The big old caboose right to the face. And it's 20 seconds in. So no matter what you slice it, his night's done. So then the person who's on the bench has to come on and play a full game. You've got a massive disadvantage because you've knocked someone out with your anus. 20 seconds, and there should be some sort of stand-down period anyway.
Well, the hip knocks out as many people as the elbow in rugby.
The hips don't lie.
Hips do not lie. They Shakira the hell out of people all over the field. And if you see some of the worst knockouts where they go into that kind of like the comatose, the Dean Lonergan arms up, the arms go out, don't they? It's sort of like, with arms wide open. It's a Creed moment.
They go full puppet show, and they're dum-da-dum. Yeah,
it's always the hip.
The hips don't lie, but they do make you lie down. That seems to be
they do.
Play there.
Shall we end the show there?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite excited. The hips don't, oh, maybe when you're taller. That's Shakira.
Your Shakira's pretty good.
Yeah.
You met Shakira.
At that freaking ground. If it was Ellis Park, I met her at Ellis Park.
Amazing.
She was in the corporate box next to me. Somehow we got flagged our way into it was at the Football World Cup 2010, and 13 years ago.
Yep.
It's easier, that one.
Yeah, it's
easier to work
Good
out.
one.
Yeah.
Good one.
So I saw Shakira in the neighbouring corporate box center, and when she went to leave, I thought this is my only chance to meet Shakira. So I went out into the hallway and went, "Hey, loved your song, loved the Waka Waka song, thought it was fantastic. Big fan of Fozzie Bear, big fan of yourself. Those hips don't lie. Am I right? High five!" And then the security escorted me away and just went,
They took you out back.
She's Kinsey Tiny, right?
Yeah, she's shouldy. Shouldy.
Shawty.
But she's human size, though.
No.
No. She's an Oompa Loompa.
She's Oompa. She's Hugh Grant.
She's Hugh Grant sized.
She's gone full Hugh Grant.
She's huge Grant.
Yeah, always problematic to go green face, Hugh. He should know that.
But yeah, Shakira, I actually think I love that Waka Waka song. It's a bloody good song. I've used that Waka Waka song. And speaking of using songs, I got permission from a very talented songwriter sitting beside me, Sam Smith, to use his World Cup song at some point during Rugby World Cup.
Very
so
excited about it. Literally any time. It's an honour to have you use it. Remember, it's in the bag, boys.
Tony Lyall wants permission. Don't give him permission.
See, Tony Lyall has been a hater of the song for years
Haters
now.
too strong. Haters too strong.
It would be, I think you used the term, it's a fucking disgrace the first time I played it. And so now, this is just making me very happy. So
I mean, it does sound like something I'd say. I don't remember saying that it's a fucking disgrace, but, when I hear that back, I'm like, yeah.
that's not me.
It's giving Tony. I understand that. It sounds like something I'd certainly say. Hey, and that was the end of the Rugby Championship as well, which I thought was kind of like a bit of a weird one. When I saw them, there was a photo of Anton Lennon-Brown just walrussing from both cups, which, is pretty rad, a bit of binge drinking on social media.
Walrussing?
Yeah, it's when you drink out of 2 cups at once. But obviously it was the Bledisloe and the Rugby Championship, so they're both comically large to start with. So he's bloody spilling beer all over himself. Everyone's having a good old-fashioned laugh.
Where were the MCG security that kicked out Geordie from the cricket? Did they come in there and do that then?
That would have been the ultimate get-back if Geordie Barrett had taken the Bledisloe Cup out to Bay 13 or wherever he was, gone and stood there where he stood during the Boxing Day test and sculled from the Bledisloe and been like, you got to kick me out now? You got to kick me out now?
This is my ground.
Yeah.
I own this. Yeah.
And then just taking a massive dump on halfway.
And then he would have gone to McDonald's and just had it at someone else's house. Some rander's house. That was him,
like
right?
shitting on halfway. It's a real, you're putting what you want. It's a display, isn't it?
It is. It's too much. I don't know. Spoiler alert. Has everyone seen White Lotus by now, or the White Lotus, or whatever it's called?
I haven't, but I'm happy for it to be spoiled.
Yeah,
it's only a spoil. Someone does take a dump on something in that show, and they sort of film it from a little bit back to the side, but you see the poos come out, and I was thinking, it's pretty realistic. Well, I don't know what it looks like, but it was the first time I'd ever seen it done like that. You know what I mean? Like it was, and I was just going,
and then what
interesting.
happened?
Australian actor as well, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, who was it?
I don't know.
Jackman. Was it Hugh Jackman?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a huge Jackman.
Was it
Kylie Minogue? That's right. Is I'm spinning around, taking a dump.
I know you live.
But you like it like this. I'm breaking it down.
I just can't get you out of my ass.
All this shit is all I'm thinking about.
The musical segment of the Champagne Rugby Podcast, which I think will be award-winning, scat related. We're just scatting. It's scat music.
We're
I
a
think they call
scat
it.
man.
Kylie's thumping now. But Kylie, if
you're listening,
I thought you were great in Neighbours. And actually, just a shout out to Neighbours when they did their finale. Holy shit, they wrapped it up well.
Well, it's coming back, mate. It's on Channel 10 in Australia. Neighbours is back.
What?
They're filming more Neighbours.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, this is a true thing.
I'll tell you what, if you get 10 player over in Australia, you can watch The Traitors New Zealand on it, so please do that.
No, why are they bringing back Neighbours? They had the perfect ending. Another spoiler. You're not going to go and watch this.
Active shooter?
Jane and who's the guy? Guy Pearce, whatever's Mike. They got back together. Wasn't active shoots. It couldn't have been that perfect. Imagine fucking Harold.
That's when good neighbors
unfamiliar.
become good. Bang!
Fuck you.
Yeah,
bang,
I feel
bang.
like...
It's Harold. Oh, very sorry. My deepest apologies there.
Yeah, well, not knowing too much about Neighbours, I think it would tie it all together well. I'd watch that. I'd watch. I'd at
But
least
why
watch
is it
it.
coming back, Tony Lyall?
Mate, it's cash cow. You got to milk the cash cow.
Yeah.
Fuck, you can't have a finale and come back. I think that's bad.
I think many shows have done
Bad
that.
karma, really. You've already had the wrap up. Everyone's emotionally invested. I watched. They had a really weird moment where clearly they couldn't get Kylie on the same day that they had Jane or something like that. You know, where they had her waving from a from a driveway. It's like, golly, come down. Oh, right. You just did your one separately.
They've sort of done a Kim Cattrall in the new version of Sex and the City where she wouldn't work with the other Sex and the City girls, so they had to film her in her own garage, and then they superimposed her into the scene. So it sort of does all three girls, and it cuts back to someone obviously in a different place.
Why has she gone pissy on that?
Well, I think, she just wanted to get paid as much as the other girls. And I challenge any other rugby podcast in New Zealand to also talk about Sex and the City and Neighbours. Anyone out there?
You won't do it, you cowards.
Yeah, the fucking NZ Rugby Pod or any of these other people out there. Talk more about Sex and the City. This is what the people want.
That's such a Samantha thing to say. That's a Bruno reference. By the way, Bruno looks exactly like Eben Etzebeth. By the way, he is amazing. He just trampled over someone a la Jonah Lomu, a la Shannon Frizzell, a.k.a. Dick Frizzell. He is on fire. We're bringing it back to rugby. We're bringing it back.
Apparently, when he was a boy, he was in some outskirts town in South Africa. It's probably some giant place with 6 million people, but nonetheless. And he was such a beast when he was a schoolboy rugby player that they had to get special bars into the gym because all the bars the other kids were using, he'd put too many weights on and bend the bars. And everyone would come in and be like, oh, Eben, you've ruined the bars, man. These are all bent. Yeah, man, these are all bent, man. Ciao, Rastafari.
I didn't know he trained in Kingston.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, a little place in Jamaica called Kingston.
Wow. Eben. The thing is, like, Eben was a big unit, but he was a fullback at high school, he told me, because they always have this crossbar challenge, and he won it one day, and he said, I have to do Eben Etzebeth now, don't I?
Yeah.
Pock the car in the car park.
Did you get that? Did you get that on? Did you go to the chopper? Did you get to the chopper? Did you get it on your SD card and put it in the television show The Crowd Goes Wild? So anyway, I said, Eben.
You said, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it on film. You won the crossbar challenge. You're a very skillful, huge beast of a man. I'm scared of you.
And also, don't worry, it's not a tumor.
Well, I think we tidied that up well. There's more rugby this week as well, by the way.
Is there?
The All Blacks are playing...
This Saturday, my birthday.
Indonesia. Is it your birthday?
It's my birthday on Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday,
Thank
Sam.
you very much. I'm going to celebrate by staying home and watching the All Blacks play in the afternoon, right?
It's a hell of a thing to do. And in the lead up, you can actually win an epic Panasonic home theatre.
Can I?
With 6,000... Well, you can't, but anyone else can with $6,000. Thanks to Dulux. All you got to do is paint something black, text Dulux to 3236, and they'll send you a black pot of paint. And then obviously use that or anything else. Head to your local Guthrie, Bowron, Bunnings, Dulux Trade Centre, grab a free black and black test pot. Again, text Dulux to 3236. Whoever wrote this out, it's not super rolling off the tongue. Paint something black and like your fence. I thought you
were going to say like your face.
No, doorknob.
What would
Probably good not to do the face, I'd recommend.
No, don't do that.
Do a silver fern on the face is fine. Thanks to the guys at Dulux Backing Black. Text that 3236 to get your Dulux test pot, and you can win $6,000. That's a hell of a prize.
That's a great prize.
Can I guess your birthday? Because I've just looked up Luke McAllister. You were 2 years behind him at Westlake Boys, so I'm going for 37. Or are you 38?
I am currently 37. I'll be turning 38.
Okay, there you go.
Good maths.
Yeah,
well done.
Wiki. Wow. Wikipedia.
It is also Justin Marshall's birthday and Jesse Mulligan's birthday and Neil Armstrong.
Well, also, he was only 1 year. You're only 1 year behind him. Or unless he was held back.
Luke McAllister, no, he was in my brother's year.
He might have played a couple of years.
Oh, no, you're right. He's actually about to turn... you're right, because his birthday's coming up. August, he's 39, turning 40. Oh, it's a big one for Luke.
Happy birthday, Luke.
Don't
what a
take this
guy.
away from
Happy
me.
birthday, Luke McAllister.
This is about me.
We really want to say...
Shut up, Sam.
Happy birthday, Luke McAllister. The best legs in world rugby, probably ever, that I've ever seen.
Sam, can you pick up that rubbish, please?
Go fuck yourself, please.
And remember, I think it's like 2:30 start to the game, or 2:30 start to the coverage, 2:45 kickoff down there in Dunedin, which I think is amazing. I don't know why it is early, but I'm happy about it.
I think they just don't want to freeze to death in Dunedin.
Well, the Scarfies will be loving it. If I was down there as a student, it would be an amazing day. Have a little barbecue lunch.
Go have a kick around in Logan Park.
It's because of FIFA. They have a nude game sometimes, don't they? And as a sort of...
I know someone who refereed that once. She's fully blind, and she refereed it.
So
she's great.
The kickoff says 2:35. So we'll be on air about 2:15 or something like that here at the ACC. It's myself and G Lane are doing the commentary. It's actually because FIFA had the Sistema lunchbox for the Women's World Cup. They said they've finished all the games in Dunedin now. They said you can have it now on one condition: you don't clash with any of our FIFA games. So they have to have it at 2:35 in the afternoon.
And surely this suits everyone, right? Everyone's excited for some Saturday afternoon rugby, especially the people in Dunedin. They don't want to be out there in the freezing cold. The people in Australia, they can get up and watch that at, 10 or 11 in the morning.
Back when we were in Dunedin, Tony, we used to get on the bus out to Carisbrook. It would be freezing.
Yeah, the All Blacks lost every game they played out there my whole time while we were at university.
Exactly right. I went to that France game. It was the first game, All Blacks game I'd ever been to. We lost. Mm-hmm. The second All Blacks game I ever went to was the one when the lights went out against Argentina, and that was cool. That was in Wellington, though. That was good.
That is pretty sexy stuff.
Good time.
Predictions for the game. I'm thinking it's going to be maybe a bit tighter. I'm hoping the Wallabies come back strong, but who knows? Could be a wild ride. I'm thinking All Blacks 13 plus still.
I'm going to go All Blacks 50 plus.
50 plus?
Wow.
I said 40 plus for that game, for the game that they just played, and it got near that. So yeah, I'm gonna go stick with 40 plus again.
I think the All Blacks will win it by 20-ish. They'll probably experiment a bit with the starting lineup, but even the experimentals are going to work really well because those players are busting to get into that team. The World Cup squad is named on Monday in Napier. It's a big deal. 5 p.m. Napier, that's when your All Black squad is going to be named. And whoever goes out there, they're going to be treating it like the trial of their life.
Some debuts, do you think? I smell a few debuts. I'm thinking maybe we might get a Shooter Stevenson.
Well,
finally.
He's still there. He's still in the squad. And because Amone Narawa is injured, still got that back injury lingering. And so I'm hoping Shooter does get a go. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of Cam Roigard as well. A little time to test his medal.
Possibly a bit of Braden Ennor in your life, maybe.
I wouldn't mind a bit
Always
of
lovely.
Ennor.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind. I think Australia by 7. I just think they're going to win.
Seems like a big change.
Yeah. I just thought about it
50
properly.
to 7, enough.
Yeah.
No, we're finishing the
decided,
podcast.
Yeah, I think
before
Australia's going to win this one, and I think it's good because it'll make
you
the All
went
Blacks
Australia by 7. You went New Zealand by 50.
Yeah, and I changed my mind.
You've swung by 57 points.
Yeah, I have.
Well,
I thought about it.
more expert analysis here on the Champagne Rugby podcast. We've also
No, wait,
got
a dead draw. Yeah, absolute draw. I'm calling
Stop the podcast now because there's too many predictions.
Well, we've got a TAB good punt to do before we do end, and we're chucking a $100 bonus bet today on a bit of a three-way. We've got a bit of action between Scotland and France, Wales and England, and New Zealand and Australia.
Nice.
We've got France to win, England to win, and New Zealand to score. The first try of the game is the first point scorer.
Okay.
I think that's great.
Yeah, not bad.
Great, cool. I do think Australia will win, though.
All right, well, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Go the All Blacks!
We will roundly ridicule Sam for his bad prediction on the Australia to win this week. Go the All Blacks.